Hello all and welcome to another video. This is going to be about MLA format, and the basis of MLA format can be a three-part video, so please watch all of them to be able to help you with MLA format. So this is just a general overview to information that I would give in the classroom if we were present together, but make sure you are still practicing and thinking about doing your own citations to help you with this information as well. MLA is Modern Language Association. That's what it stands for. It's used in the humanities most of the time. Other formats you might have used in other classes could have been APA or Chicago, but you're usually going to find MLA in your English classes, maybe your art, or potentially even your history class. All your papers, which ideally you should know, Times New Roman, 12-point font, double space everything, 1-inch margins, indent paragraphs, half an inch. That just means you can just tab over. And then the page header on each page, which would just be your first and last name at the top, your instructor's name afterwards, the class that you're taking, and then the date that you're submitting that essay. That would be on the left-hand side, like above your title. And on the right-hand side, like there's usually a running header that has just your last name and then the page number. One thing that's really important to know is that books are always going to be in italics and articles are always going to be in quotation marks. So this is an example of a textbook that I use. It's called The Bedford Guide for College Writers. And that this is a chapter from that textbook. So recalling an experience, notice it's a smaller chapter within the larger book. So if you have a book or a journal, it's always going to be in italics. If you have an article, an essay, anything that's shorter, going to be in quotation marks. Another way to think about this, if you have like a CD or any type of album or any kind, the album itself, so like the CD title is going to be in italics because it's the larger work, and the individual songs are going to be in quotation marks. So anything that's smaller, quotation marks, larger is in italics. You will never have anything use both. Maybe if you have like books within a book, that's very, very rare, but 99.9% of the time you're not going to use both. So you won't have a title that's in quotation marks and italics. It'll be either or, and you're not going to have anything that's underlined. That's an outdated form of MLA format. Nothing is underlined anymore. In-text citation versus works cited citation. You're going to have in-text citations in the body of the work, and your works cited citations belong in the end of the work. So for every piece of information that's not your own ideas or language, you're going to cite both, okay? And let me show you so this is Purdue OWL, and I really like Purdue. It's Purdue University's online writing lab. And I have that cited in the PowerPoint here, which I will have on Blackboard. But if you go down at the bottom, you'll find like MLA guide. That's what you need to have. So MLA format, if you're in another class like psychology that uses APA, you can find that. On the left-hand side, you can find MLA formatting and style guide. And then they give you a variety of aspects to look for. So if you want to decide a book, you could look at different formats. But they give you kind of examples of in-text citation to look at. And I'll have some on this PowerPoint as well. So like these are some examples. You're going to have in-text citation is literally within the essay. So that would be if you're writing, have a quotation or summary or paraphrase, that would look like that. Most citation in-text citations are going to have the last name of the author and the page number if there isn't one. Okay, so if there is one. So if you have like a website or something that doesn't have a page number on it, you don't need a page number. So you wouldn't put like paragraph 1 or anything. You would just have the last name of the author, and that would be it. In MLA format, you're never going to have the first name of the author or the middle name. It's always going to be the author's last name. In addition, if there is no last name, if there is no author in general, you're going to have what comes next. And I'll talk about that in a little bit later. You're going to have the article's title. So there's only 3 things you'll ever have in an in-text citation in MLA format. That's the last name of the author, the page number if there is one, and if there is no author, you'll have the article's title. Now, you're never going to have the last name of the author and the article's title together in the citation. You'll only have the title of the work if there is no author listed. And sometimes there can be no author listed if a large group of people are working on something together, like a government agency or a large corporation, and you have like hundreds of people working on one. You're not just going to have one author. It would be like the whole entity of that would be. In addition, for in-text citations, if you state the author's name in the sentence that you're looking at, you don't have to write their last name in the in-text citation. That's only if you don't have that. So in-text citations are within the body of the work. You have to cite them. You have, in the works cited citation is at the end. So let me see if I can find that basic format. I have an example here. And so you can look at the basic rules here. Let's see if I can find an example paper. I think they have an example paper here. Yeah. No, there's a sample works cited page. That's what I'm looking for. And so this is an example works cited page. And I'm going to talk about some more works cited throughout these videos. But works cited always comes at the end of the paper. A lot of times I get the question, does the works cited page count towards the whole essay page length? And the answer is no, it doesn't. So if you have a 4-page paper, you're going to have 4 pages of actual writing, and then on the 5th page would be the works cited page. So the works cited page always comes on the first page that has no writing on it. So if you have a full page of writing, that next page is the works cited page. If you have on the 5th page, you have 1 or 2 lines, the 6th page will have that works cited page. This is all the information that is needed to cite the source. So the author's name, the article's title, book title if you have one, publisher, date, just everything that you might need, URL and everything. And each type of work is going to be different. And I'll talk about that throughout these PowerPoints, but you'll notice if you had like just copy and pasted just all this information in the body of your essay, it would be really clunky. There'd be too much information. It wouldn't be easy to read. So the purpose of in-text citations are to show your reader where you're putting information with still making it easy to read. It's navigating. So if you had a quote and you had Dean, like this doesn't have a page number, you would just have Dean, your reader would be able to go down to your works cited page and look for Dean, which is really easy, and see everything here. Your works cited page, whatever's in your in-text citation, should always look first. So notice we've got some inconvenient truth. So this is a book without an author. So inconvenient truth in italics would be in your in-text citation, and then I would be able to go and look directly at that. Okay, so it should always be whatever comes first in the in-text citation, or in the works cited page, as in the in-text citation, and so it's easy for a reader to really look and see where they're perceiving that at. And I just literally showed you what I have there. So if you need to go back to this, to what I just showed you, that works cited example, you can copy and paste that link on slide 6 and look for that yourself. I just talked a lot about this. Really, I have a tendency sometimes of moving beyond a PowerPoint slide, so I already kind of talked about everything in just slide 7, so you can kind of refer to this if you forget anything I just said. These are some examples I pulled from Purdue OWL, and I also talked about them too just a moment ago. These are some examples. You have the works cited citation and in-text citation directly kind of right by each other. So the Crab is the last name of the author and Tim is the first name. If you have one author, it's always going to be last name first, comma, first name. So you're never going to have the first name first. If you have like a second or third author, then you would have first and second name, go first name, last name. But if the first author listed is always going to be last name, comma, first name. So you can see easily that first name listed goes easily with the first name listed or the last name listed on the works cited citation. And so notice there's no clunky, we don't need to know the year, everything, but we do need to know that in the works cited citation. So the information is there, but not. And so I can easily just go Crab, look, here's all the information else that I need. It's really simple. These are all the breakdown of everything we're looking at. And I'm sorry if it is a little bit hard to read here. Let me make that a little bit bigger. So again, that's the last name, comma, first name. And the citation I'm looking at right now is if you found an article in like EBSCOhost or JSTOR or something, a big database. So this is a scholarly journal article. Not all citations are going to be the same, but these are most likely going to be what you use if you're looking at the college's online databases. A sporting chance, using sport to tackle drug use and crime. That's the title of the article. Remember, if you have articles or essays, that's always going to be in quotation marks, so you know it's the title of the article because it is in quotation marks. Remember so drugs, education, prevention, and policy, that's the title of the journal. So remember, books and journals are always going to be in italics. You can usually know it's a journal instead of a book if you have the volume and the issue number right next to it. So if it's not there, it's usually going to be a book. And so that's kind of how you can tell the difference. So the volume is val dot and then whatever number you have. The number is the issue number. For some reason, I don't know why they don't just say issue. It's no period and then whatever issue number. So you're going to have volume 7, comma, issue number, issue 4. And then you'll have the date the journal was published, so November 2000. If there's no month, that's fine. You can just list a year. The page range is simply the letters PP dot and then the first page that essay is on, the article's on, and the last page. So, you know, if in this journal, it's between pages 381 and 391. And then the EBSCOhost, which is also in italics, that's only used if you found that article in a database like EBSCOhost, and I'll have a separate video about how to find information like that. And the URL or DOI, which sometimes, so if it has a DOI, it's just an easier way to find it. So anybody can look that up on any computer and it will come up. So if there is a DOI, you can copy and paste that. If there isn't one, you can just copy and paste the URL from your from the information there. Let's see here. Works cited citations. This should be indented, so have a hanging. It's called a hanging indent, and what this means is that the first line is not going to be indented, and every other line will be. So I think about this as like the opposite of a paragraph. So if you have a paragraph in your essay, the first line is going to be indented, but every other line is not going to be. So you have the first. So this is the opposite of that. The first line is not indented, but every other line isn't, and I can show that like later on. So how I do that is if Microsoft Word, I guess. If I go to paragraph, and it's actually not going to let me. Oh, there should be something called special, and if you just click hanging, it'll do that for you. Ideally, it's a little similar in Google Docs, but if you have Microsoft Word, you'll go to paragraph, and then that's special, and then hanging, and just does it for you. But there's a variety of ways to cite, but I'm going to end this video here so it doesn't go too long and so we can kind of space them up into all 3 videos. So I'm leaving off on slide 12 of all the PowerPoint, and again, I'll have this PowerPoint and Blackboard for you to come along, but please make sure that you are kind of coming back for the other videos B and C so you can learn more information.